Has Europe just received a big shock as Trump simultaneously tries to pull NATO allies deeper into his war with Iran, even as a separate terror network scandal unfolds across the continent? Are NATO member states genuinely stunned by revelations that an Iranian proxy group had allegedly planned coordinated attacks across multiple European countries? Has an entire shadow network of hidden weapons caches and secret smuggling routes now been exposed, revealing years of covert preparation across the European continent? With years of secret preparation now coming to light, was Europe really next on this proxy network's target list for a devastating coordinated attack? As Hamas installs a new chief following Yahya Sinwar's death, did Sinwar himself leave behind a hidden European time bomb still waiting to be defused? Hamas allegedly built an entire secret network across Europe, one reportedly designed to carry out a mass casualty attack model directly on the October 7th assault. A Swiss investigation found that Hamas had spent years quietly building covert operational cells scattered across multiple countries throughout Europe. According to the Neue Zürcher Zeitung, this network was specifically built to target Jewish, Israeli, and broader Western institutions across the continent. German authorities came to believe that the planned attack date was deliberately tied to the second anniversary of the original October 7th assault. This alleged plot was reportedly thwarted through a combination of targeted arrests and coordinated intelligence operations across several countries. Investigators warned that these dormant cells could have been activated quickly and decisively on direct orders from Hamas's senior leadership. The report detailed that Hamas had created an extensive infrastructure of weapons depots, smuggling routes, and dedicated logistics cells throughout Europe. Authorities reportedly detected Hamas-linked activity spread across a total of 6 separate European countries, revealing the true scale of this operation. Germany, Austria, Denmark, Britain, Greece, and Cyprus were all specifically named in the report as countries where this network had established a presence. According to the NZZ, investigators identified Vienna as serving as a particularly major logistical hub for coordinating the network's activities. Austrian authorities uncovered a significant weapons cache that included 5 loaded pistols, ammunition, and several explosive devices. The NZZ report revealed that a British suspect was subsequently arrested in London directly in connection with this alleged weapons cache. Investigators alleged that rifles, pistols, and ammunition had been systematically moved across 3 separate countries as part of the smuggling operation. According to the NZZ report, 4 Hamas operatives have since been formally convicted in Germany in connection with this uncovered network. German prosecutors claimed that preparations for this network actually began years before the original October 7, 2023 Hamas attack even took place. This entire report emerged just after Hamas appointed a new leader to replace Yahya Sinwar following his death, adding fresh urgency to the revelations. New UK Prime Minister Andy Burnham has reportedly approved the continued use of British military bases by the United States, authorizing American forces to operate from UK soil for certain Iran-related missions described as defensive in nature. Burnham's decision explicitly allows US forces to use these bases for what London calls defensive strikes against Iran, signaling continuity with earlier policy rather than a sharp departure from the framework set under previous leadership. This shift was revealed after reports claimed Washington had pressured the new Prime Minister to stick with the line taken by Keir Starmer, ensuring that American access to key British facilities would not be interrupted by the change in government. According to those accounts, details of this US pressure campaign were outlined in a Bloomberg report dated July 21 and relayed by Iran International, which framed the episode as part of broader American efforts to lock in Allied support for the ongoing war. Trump and Burnham held their first phone call on July 20, shortly after Burnham entered office, using the conversation to set the tone for their relationship and to discuss how closely the UK would align itself with US strategy on Iran. Trump later characterized the discussion as very good and hailed what he called an outstanding relationship, presenting Burnham as a cooperative partner at a time when some other allies are more hesitant. By Trump's own account, the two leaders used that call to talk about North Sea oil, trade ties, the broader military alliance, and the tense situation around the Strait of Hormuz, signaling that energy security and maritime routes are central to their agenda. Burnham also invited the US president to Manchester for next year's G20 summit, a gesture aimed at reinforcing the importance of the transatlantic partnership and showcasing Britain as a key venue for high-level diplomacy. British media have reported that Washington specifically sought access to RAF Fairford in Gloucestershire and to the Diego Garcia base in the Indian Ocean, viewing these locations as crucial platforms for operations linked to the Iran conflict. One US official has suggested that Trump is frustrated with other NATO allies over restrictions on basing and overflight, saying he is disappointed by those who are reluctant to open their facilities for the campaign. Starmer, when he was in office, initially rejected a US request to use the Diego Garcia base for strikes on Iran, signaling a reluctance to let Britain be drawn too deeply into Washington's offensive campaign at that early stage. That decision angered Trump, who later said he was very disappointed with Starmer's stance, using public remarks to vent his frustration over what he saw as a lack of support from a key ally. The UK government later shifted course and allowed American aircraft to operate from RAF Fairford, giving the US a practical launchpad on British soil for missions that London described as limited and defensive. Since then, RAF Fairford has become a focal point for anti-war protests, with demonstrators treating the base as a symbol of Britain's involvement in the Iran conflict and gathering outside its gates to demand an end to US bombing runs. Newly elected Hamas Political Bureau Chief Khalil al-Hayya has outlined 6 key priorities as ceasefire negotiations over Gaza continue. Al-Hayya assumed Hamas' top political leadership after Yahya Sinwar was killed during an Israeli military operation in October 2024. The new Hamas leader, who survived an earlier Israeli strike in Doha, delivered his first public address since taking over the movement. In his speech, al-Hayya said ending Israel's military offensive and securing a complete Israeli withdrawal from Gaza were Hamas' immediate priorities. Hamas leadership priorities: end offensive. Seek a complete end to Israel's military campaign and full withdrawal from the Gaza Strip. Rebuild Gaza, restore the territory and work to secure the release of Palestinian prisoners. Palestinian unity, reunify Palestinian factions and restructure the Palestine Liberation Organization, PLO. Regional ties, strengthen political and strategic relations with Arab and Muslim countries. International pressure, mobilize global diplomatic efforts to halt Israel's military campaign in Gaza. UN action, press the United Nations to protect Palestinians and pursue accountability against Israel.
Our first and clear priority is a complete cessation of the occupation's aggression, killing, and terrorizing, and the achievement of a full withdrawal from the Gaza Strip. We're here, calling on the countries sponsoring the negotiation process to exert real pressure on the extremist right-wing occupation government to implement what has been agreed upon and to proceed with the transition to the next phase. To restore a dignified life for our people in the Gaza Strip and to thwart all conspiracies, particularly those aimed at displacement, and expedite reconstruction, considering that it's an inherent right of our people, not a gift or favor from anyone, and it cannot be linked to any bargaining, concessions, or political stances. Gaza is an integral part of the Palestinian entity. It has always been, and will remain so. We will also continue to act on all fronts simultaneously for Gaza, the West Bank, and Jerusalem, and to work on liberating the prisoners and end their suffering, and providing them with a life worthy of them, their struggle and sacrifices. Therefore, we call for the immediate initiation of a national dialogue and the establishment of mechanisms to rebuild Palestinian national institutions, foremost among them the Palestine Liberation Organization, on democratic foundations and in accordance with a national consensus that includes all Palestinians and the full political partnership in decision-making, and in formulating and implementing national strategies.
Reuters reported that Israeli forces continue to control more than 60% of the Gaza Strip despite the US-brokered ceasefire. According to Reuters, more than 1,150 Palestinians have been killed since the October 2025 truce came into effect. Israel has maintained that its military operations target Hamas fighters it says continue to pose an imminent security threat. The developments come as tensions across the Middle East remain elevated amid renewed hostilities between Iran and the United States.